Want to help support the channel? Then why not check out the merch that's available from the links below in the description. Help out the channel and get more phenomenal stuff for yourself. And now with that, let's jump straight into the video. As the title suggests, we're going to be talking about the contracts and mainly the Power Ranger ones with Toei and Hasbro. A while ago, on the Illuminati, news dropped that Zyuohger might be on the table for the next Power Ranger adaptation, and this has sent people going, what? How? The split? What's going on? And from my kind of understanding of how the contracts would probably be, we're going to talk about this. Now, with the way that Hasbro have done, I do still believe that the split has happened, and the fact is that anything after Ryusoulger can't be used. So that's mainly Kira Major, that's Zenkaija, and anything, even this new Sentai that has dropped. And I think now we have seen some news drop from the new Sentai coming out that some of it is going to be CGI with the Rangers or some of the elements, which wouldn't work, I don't think, wouldn't work in the Power Rangers formula. And also I think that this means that that Toei has moved on from Hasbro, and thus therefore they're trying their own thing. Otherwise we probably wouldn't have had CGI. Now I do kind of blame COVID for this, that obviously they've had to kind of adjust. Obviously we saw that with Zenkaija, but that is a video for another day. What I'm here to talk about today is what happens with the contracts that they've got now and what they can and cannot use. So first of all, the big main thing is anything from Go Ranger to Ryusoulger, Hasbro can use. They have the rights. Saban would have got the rights from Toei when he owned the property, or when he had Power Rangers and he struck deals, and now that Hasbro own it, they can use anything from Go Ranger all the way up to Ryusoulger. We've seen this in the Boom Studios comics where Stromina killed an entire Ranger team, and this was, I think, Flashman or something like that, or it wasn't Bioman. It was a series that we've seen in Super Megaforce, and again, Super Megaforce showed that you had the Supersonic Rangers, you had Prism Rangers or something like that. You had different Sentai teams that could be used. Now, if Saban at the time only owned everything from Zyuohger upwards, then he wouldn't be able to use past teams regardless of footage. So obviously a deal has been struck or was struck between Toei and Saban, and obviously now that Hasbro owns the franchise and owns the licensing, they can do exactly the same. So this is why that we're seeing past Ranger teams that have never been on Earth turn up in Boom Comics. Now, what does this mean for the show? What can they do? Now, when the Illuminati dropped the information of that Zyuohger could possibly be the next Sentai to be adapted, everyone's gone, oh, I thought about the split. I thought the split had happened. Now, I do believe that that has happened 100%. I think that we're in the stage where the next series will be announced, but they can only use a few of the other ones, which would be Tokuja and Zyuohger. But I have made videos on how I don't think that we will get to Tokuja, any of the past Sentais, because of the monster suits and how damaged that they are, blah blah blah. I've already talked about it. Now, with COVID being such a big thing, I think that Hasbro weren't able to make their own stuff, or they weren't able to produce it fast enough because of restrictions that are in New Zealand, as well as like some companies. Now that the world is kind of opening up a bit more, we might be able to see this, but I do believe at this moment in time that COVID is a big main player in this. Let's talk about the contract that a lot of people believe that the Sentai is being adapted, that it's free range or free reign, that you could easily choose any of them upwards. So we know that Simon has said Lupin Ranger versus Pata Ranger, as also as Q Ranger, are off the table because of the two main things: the stigma that becomes with Lupin and Pata, and obviously there are too many Rangers in Q Ranger to actually have a proper storyline, that you wouldn't get exactly what it is. We know this. This is a main thing that's going around. Because Hasbro owns the rights from Go Ranger to Ryusoulger, that means anything from rear soldier below can be used, and that's absolutely fine. That will be within their contract. So you could see that they could have a mixture of these Rangers turn up in a series. They could make their own, they could still use it and utilize it. As I mentioned before, when we watched Super Megaforce, we saw these Rangers turn up. We saw Rangers that we'd never seen just appear, and it was very confusing. And still, I don't understand why they would go down that road, but hey, Saban. You can see these Rangers like popping up all the time in video games, in comic books, all the time, and they have, Hasbro has the right to use them all because they've purchased the rights, for quite a lot of money, not just something willy-nilly, but yes, they can use them whatever means they want. So we could see them in upcoming media. We can see it in the Lightning collection. I do believe later on we will see stuff come up in the Lightning collection that we've not had before, and that would be a big terrible mistake if they did it. So why can't they use Kira Major, Zenkaija, etc.? This is because the rights to those series were made after the deal was done, so they can't use them whatsoever. They can't reference them, they can't use the likeness, not unless they strike up another deal with Toei and say, hey, we would like to have the rights to this series. Would you sell them to us? Could we adapt this? Could we do this? And thus, therefore, Toei could turn around and say yay or nay. But normally, a lot of money would be made from this because obviously it goes into toys, it goes into Bandai of Japan, it goes in quite a lot in that way. So when people say, oh, Kira Majors and Kaija can be done, these were made after 2019. Rear Soldier was still going in 2019, and thus therefore that is where they're up to. Zenkaija and Kira Major were done in 2020 and 2021. So those are the main things for that one. I did see that a few people were saying like, oh, but by the time Rear Soldier was being done, they were working on Kira Major and they were kind of doing it, so it would fall into that bracket. Well, that wouldn't be true, because even if they were still filming it, the rights up to said Sentai would have been done. Like, even as like Super Sentai carries on, they're not going to start looking at Hasbro and saying, hey, we're going to keep this going. Anything up to the end of 2019 you have access to. They would have said, no, Rear Soldier is the last series that you have done. This is the only time that you're getting it. A lot of people will say that they want it because the fans have requested it, but from the contracts it means that they can't. Hasbro are tied up to that particular season, not unless they actually work out a deal again with Toei, which I mentioned. But from my understanding, I don't think they will, mainly because of the way that Sentai is now changing and adapting. With Kira Major being the last one with a full team of humans on the team. Zenkaija obviously has the Kikanoids, so obviously we won't get them as human forms in Power Rangers, etc., etc. And obviously with the new way that CGI is going to be used with the new series of Super Sentai. I don't know the name of that one. If you know, let me know down below in the comments. But because of this, we're not going to see those ones be adapted because, again, of contracts. Now, even though that Hasbro have the rights to Sentai before Zyuranger, obviously MMPR, it doesn't mean that we're going to see these. We're not going to see grainy footage that can't, it would cost more to upscale it to HD, to clear it up, to make it better. We're not going to be seeing that because obviously those Sentais are products of their time. So we could see stuff that, that isn't kind of like politically correct at the moment, or there may be things that aren't right at the moment. I would love to see Jetman be turned into something. But the main thing is Hasbro now owns those suits in a way. So they could easily request them. They could say, hey, ship us over these costumes. We're going to use them in another Power Rangers program, which I think would be kind of really cool. Believe me, I think it would be really, really cool. But because they have that sort of deal going on with Toei, that's probably the one thing that they can do right now. Monster suits for those series have way gone. I don't think that, apart from maybe Go Ranger with the baseball head one, I don't think that monster suits are around anymore. I feel like they're all gone, so that's the reason why we won't see them. But still, we can see the Ranger suits. I do really want to see Jetman in New Zealand. I think that would be really fucking cool, to be fair. Now, like any other contract, they do have a time limit. This is when times come up to have a look at renewing it to make it better for which side. Think of it as like a mobile phone contract or a cell phone contract, depending on where you are. You were tied into a contract for X amount of time. So back in the day, it used to be 6 to 12 months. Then it went from 12 months to 24 months. But within that time, you are paying for a service up to it. Both sides agree. You get a new phone that you have to stay in contract for 24 months. That means that you get the phone, you get the minutes, you get the text, you get the data, and thus therefore your agreement is that you will then pay to said phone company, cell phone company, and that is in the contract. When the contract ends, you can let it carry on, roll on, so you get the best deal, or that you can upgrade. This will literally be the same sort of deal that Toei has with Hasbro or Hasbro has with Toei. Now that the contracts are up, it depends on Hasbro. If they want to continue, then they will continue, but they will negotiate a better deal. If, say, the rights to the franchise or the rights to set up to, say, the end of Zenkaija would cost them $80 million, then that's what they would have to pay to Toei, and that's the main thing that you would see. Thus, therefore, what they would get would be access to all the footage, access to the costumes, to the monsters, and then they can adapt it to make them fit into Power Rangers completely, which is a good thing. But as we've seen with Hasbro pulling contracts, pulling Power Rangers off Netflix, bar Dino Fury, Mighty Morphing, Beast Morphers, and Ninja Steel and stuff like that, and I think maybe Dino Charge. The contract that they would have had with Netflix means that they would have said, we are able to show these series without any problem. Otherwise, they're brand new. So when Saban signed that deal, we will have a 5-year license, and then we can go over this. This is probably why Power Rangers hasn't been going back onto Netflix, because maybe they just want to upload it to YouTube, where there isn't a contract, where they can get the AdSense money and do that. But with Netflix, they may have a contracted deal. Hey, we want this. This is what we're going to set. And I feel like this is a lot what people don't understand, or they just assume that, it's quite easy. Contracts are very weird, but they're very, very interesting at the kind of same time. So again, anything that's after Rear Soldier won't be adapted, but everything before that is absolutely fine. So yeah, I just want to kind of make a quick video on it. I did write this ages ago, but I do feel like we needed to kind of talk about it, because I do feel that some people don't kind of understand it. Now, I'm not going to go way into depth in it because I don't know the contracts. I don't know how that is, but this is just off the top of my head how things have been kind of going on and how I would assume things would be going. But I'm going to leave it there. What are your thoughts on this? What do you think about the contracts that are going on? Do you want them to adapt everything after Rear Soldier? Let me know down below in the comments if you like this sort of content and you want to see more, you want to help out the channel, then check out the merchandise in the description, and I will leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとう。チャンネル登録、高評価お願い。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができるよ。